Hi, I'm Michael Doyle and I am with Engagez, and I am going to do a quick demo of the back end of the platform for you. So if you watch the first demo on the front end, you'll notice that I used a couple of 3D platforms, 3D venues that I showed, and this time I'm going to use something that's more photographic based website, kind of paradigm versus the convention center trade show paradigm. So this is what the entrance page for this event looks like. And so when someone is registered on the day of the event, they're going to come in and again put their username or email and their password in, and then they're going to get right into the venue. And in this case, this is the type of lobby that they have. And you see that you can navigate from here or you can navigate up here. But the main thing I want to really focus on is not so much the navigation, but this area over here, which is your administration panel. So as you can see, right now it's on administer, and we have different options there. And then if I turn it to UI design, it's going to change completely. And UI design is what you're going to use over in this part of the screen. So this is all the things that are facing the user here. So let me start here. And typically when you set up a venue, the first thing you're going to do is go into Essentials. And Essentials are going to be where you put in the name of the event, the URL, the time zone it's going to operate in, when it's going to be open, when it's going to be closed, and then indicate the registration type. So is it a registration required, or is it an open door, or is it invitation only? So you're going to pick those right away. And if you're using the venue's registration service, which you don't have to do, you can use a third party, or you might have your own. You can always upload CSV files, or in some cases we can do an integration. But if you're using ours, the next thing you would want to do is go to your registration form and start to set that up. So figure out all the different questions that you want to ask, and if you're using e-commerce or something, you tie in your e-commerce, get that registration set up ready to go. You're going to tell it that you want to enable online registration, and you have a number of different options. You can add tickets, you can add coupon codes, all of that kind of thing. And then down here is where you're going to say whether you're or not you're using passwords. So we highly recommend it. It's much better for security, but we understand that there's some cases where people don't want them or don't need them. So you do have that ability to turn it off. And that's the same thing with most of the functionality throughout the entire venue. There's a lot of functionality. Not everybody uses everything. You decide what you want to turn on and what you want to turn off. So the next thing after you set up your registration form is you're going to set up your emails, at least your registration confirmation email, because when that registration comes in, obviously you're going to want them to get a confirmation. And we have a very easy to use editor here that you can go through and you can add HTML. There's all sorts of variable codes that we provide that you can use, like first name, things like add to calendar. So we do have, if you choose to have people use the option on add to calendar, you would just complete that here, fill that out for what you want, and then you would go ahead and preview it. So you send yourself a preview, make sure you check in both Outlook and Gmail when you do the preview, because they do tend to process things a little bit differently. So that's the first email that you're going to set up. Probably want to get that going pretty soon because you want to open registration. These venue reminders are things that you'll use later on, so you come back to set those up later in the cycle of the event. But you can do any number of reminders that you want. A lot of our clients use, like a 1 week out, 1 day out, a 1 hour out, and then starting now sequence. So all of those can be set up here. You can even set up a reminder for people who had registered but hadn't even logged in during the event yet. So an hour into it or a couple hours into it, you could send them a message, reminding them that it's live now and they can come. So that's the next thing to look at. And then you want to set up your entrance, because that's the first place people are going to go to when either they're admins and they're working in the event, or they're contributors and they're working in the event. They're going to come to that entrance page. So you want to get that set up so that people can log in and get access to it. So once you have those basics set up, then you have more time to then go in and start to look at building the different locations that you need, and also adding sponsors and session content and things like that. So to do that, what you would do is come into the inside of the venue and then go to the area that you wanted to edit. Let's say it's the lobby in this case, and you might want to go into UI design, come over to the lobby, and let's say you wanted to edit this grid panel here. You could come in and do that. You could edit the style, you could edit the location, you could edit each one of what these are called. If you didn't like the icons, you could change those out for something else. These are different kinds of panels here. These are text panels. There's a lot of different things that you can do with editing in the UI design, including editing the menu. So if you want to change the menu items, you want to change the order of the menu items, change the name of what they're called, you do that all in the configure menu area. Or if you wanted to change the background or the colors of the fonts, all that's here. And the same thing goes for this area down here. This is where you're going to set up all your sponsorship links and also your social media links for the venue. So every location within the venue, if it's a location you created or it's a location that was already in there, it all is going to be something that you can edit the same way. It doesn't change across any of the different locations. Nor does the administer function either. So you would come in here and let's say you wanted to start adding sessions. You're going to click on that area, and this venue already has sessions in it, but if you were starting new, you'd start with a add new session. You would just fill out this information, the description, the title. If you know who the speakers are, you can put them in. You'd set up the schedule. When is this supposed to run? How long is it supposed to run? And then you're going to indicate what the source of that content is. So is it a live stream? Is it simulive, which means that it's pre-recorded but plays as if it's a live session? Or are you using some kind of embed or third-party tool like Zoom or WebEx or something like that? So the interaction panel is where you're going to go and set up all the tabs on things that you want to add or offer around that session. So it might be a Q&A chat area where people can ask their questions and provide comments. It might be that you want resources and slides available for people to download, the about information for that session. A lot of different things that you can decide, again, to either use or not use depending on what your needs are. So that's how you would go ahead and set up a new session. You can also go in and import them as well. So you can do, if you have all your sessions, you can do an import. You can do multiple imports. So if you have most of the information, but you don't have all of it, you can come back and do another import and information will be appended to the person's file. This is also where you're going to set up your tracks. So you're going to define what your tracks are if you have tracks. You can use default settings to, if you want all the sessions to have the same interaction panel, you can set that up as a default. And you can also delete all of the content that's in here. So let's say you get a venue that you want to reuse, or you have a venue that was set up with some sample information. Before you get going here, you might want to go in and delete all that. And the attendee function works the same way. So attendees you can either add individually, or you can upload with a spreadsheet, or if you're using our registration, they're going to come in automatically here. But to add somebody, you just click on that add button, and then you're going to put in the information that you require for it. and then go ahead and set them up as a member. Now, you can also add admins. So if you need to add additional admins, you can add those here, as well as add or change people's status to contributor as well. So a number of different options on managing your attendees, and then you can also do things like run registration reports and whatnot there. This is also helpful during the course of an event or prior to it. If somebody comes in and says, oh, I can't log in, I forgot my password, and they've reset it, then you can go in and you can edit their profile and change their password for them and give them the new password so that they can get access to the venue. The resources can be managed either here or they can be managed on the front end. This particular event doesn't have a lot of resources, but they do have some. And you can add resources over here. You can put folders in there if you want to organize them by folders. You can also, just like the sessions, you can also manage access. So you can decide that some people can get these and some people can't, similar to sessions where you can have access groups for sessions where some people can see those sessions and some people won't. Forms is an area where you're going to set up things like inquiry forms for your exhibitors, or you're going to set up, if you're doing survey evaluations, you'll set those up here and then go back and attach them to the appropriate sessions. We also have static pages, and static pages are an area for you to add additional content in more of a pop-up kind of a format. If you look at, for example, this Engage and Win pop-up, so you can see what, you have HTML, you have content here, you can also have links and call to action for somebody. So there's kind of an unlimited number of those kinds of things that you can add into the venue. And then when you have all of that stuff set up, you're going to, at the end of the event, you're going to probably spend some time in the analytics area. And the analytics are going to allow you to create a date range, to add exclusion lists. So you don't want administrators, or you don't want contributors or speakers, or you can have specific email addresses that you don't want in your analytics here. So then once you do that, you can go in and you can run attendee reports. And I need to pick a time zone here, or a time frame here. So you can run attendee reports, and you can download those Excel, CSV files. You can do the same thing with sessions. Look at all your sessions, or isolate a particular session and run reports for that. And the same, of course, with the exhibitors. You can look at the all of the data, or you can drill down into a particular exhibitor and run reports for them and generate their lead reports, and lots of other different kinds of things you can do with the exhibitor data as well. So those are the main areas that are, kind of running in the back end, and that you'll have access to help build and configure your event based on all the different types of engagement elements or content elements, sponsorship, exhibitor elements that you need to execute your program. It's very flexible. Again, all those things are up to you to decide what you use, what you don't use. It's all included with the platform. And with that, I'm going to say thank you.